Inappropriate Introduction. Through the Douluo River, I, Jiang Feng, have only one shot, which can move mountains, pour seas, subdue demons, suppress demons, decree gods, pluck stars, cut off rivers, destroy cities, and open heaven. Serious Introduction. This is a Douluo fan with a single female lead and a Douluo fan with a little bit of brain. No apprenticeship, no licking of Tang San, IQ online. Keywords of the novel. Douluo. Truth within range with no pop-ups, Douluo. Truth within range TXT complete collection download, Douluo. Truth within range latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Sorry, I shamed on the walker. New book request. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Sorry, I shamed on the walker. New books for collection and recommendation. Douluo Continent, Tiando Empire, outside Tiando City, 7 Treasures Glass Sect. At this moment, in a study in the core area of the sect, a little boy was lying on his desk, writing vigorously. Trailer Diary. On the 2189th day of arriving in Douluo Continent, tomorrow is my 6th birthday and also the day when I am about to awaken my martial soul. To be honest, I'm a bit panicked. The system analysis suggests that I might awaken the sickle and hoe, which is quite outrageous. Although I am the grandson of Jiang Douluo, I am also related to Jiang Douluo. As for awakening a sickle and hoe, where does this put the face of my traveler? What else are you talking about my genetic lineage? I'm Nima, and things like traveling have happened. Can't you give me some cheats? And my building comparison system, besides having a lot of information, doesn't have any cheating, and always claims to be an omniscient system and a loser. For 6 years, apart from helping me develop an exercise plan and giving me an I Ching gene, I had nothing else. This is a system. Isn't this really an artificial intelligence learning machine? Your designer wouldn't be the same model as Haoji Star, and there's Ning Rongrong, the dead princess. Damn it, he'll have to be replaced by someone else in his previous life. All day long, except for playing pranks on me, there's nothing wrong with it. When I have the chance to get immortal grass in the future, I won't give it to you until I'm bitten. I have a principle: 1 bite is definitely not enough, and taking more bites can be considered. Thinking about the next door, which has already made a breakthrough, all parties are kneeling and licking. I am still worried about what the martial soul is, and I feel ashamed. I apologize to everyone for causing embarrassment to the walkers. When I go back, I voluntarily withdraw from the group. Also, I hope conscientious designers remember to upgrade my system and get some cheats for me. Thank you very much. Speech. On the 2189th day of the journey through Douluo, at the study of the 7 Treasures Liuli sect, personally written by Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng took a long breath and ended today's diary. Picking up the water glass next to her and about to take a sip, a soft and sticky female voice suddenly came from behind. Jiang Feng, what are you doing? Puff. Jiang Feng sprayed water out of his mouth and turned his head to look behind him with a frightened expression. I saw a little loli wearing a light blue dress with long chestnut hair standing behind him, looking at his notebook with a curious expression on her face. Ning Rongrong. Hey, what are you drawing with ghosts again? I can't understand. Jiang Feng finally realized that he was writing Chinese characters, and this little girl couldn't understand the film. At present, we have also regained our composure. This is academic research, and I am studying the important relationship between the great human body and its habitat and reproduction. If you don't understand, I don't blame you. Oh, Ning Rongrong nodded, seeming to understand. Then you can play chess with me. I've developed a new formation and I'm sure I can beat you. Chess was invented by Jiang Feng 2 years ago when he was bored. When he had free time, he would use it to tease sword Douluo Qinshin and bone Douluo Gurong. As for why the word flirting is used, it's because Jiang Feng himself carries a garbage called omniscient system. Although this thing is useless, it is a skilled player in analyzing things and creating plans. At least playing chess can win 100%. Douluo version, Alpha Dog, Jiang Feng raised his eyebrows. Forget it, at your level, it's still a bit difficult to beat me. Ning Rongrong's eyebrows were inverted, with a hint of anger on his small face. You can't look down on people. I can definitely win over you. If you don't tell me, I'll tell my dad you're watching me take a shower. Jiang Feng's gaze wandered around Ning Rongrong's body, and then a hint of disdain rose from the corner of his mouth. Watching you take a shower. The dog shook its head when it saw it. Wah, 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 wah. Ning Rongrong saw that the threat was ineffective and burst into tears in place. Upon hearing Ning Rongrong's crying, Jiang Feng frowned and began counting down. 321 Jiang Feng. What did you do again? A strong male voice came from behind Jiang Feng, and he knew without looking that his nominal grandfather, Qinxin, had arrived. Jiang Feng turned around with a helpless expression and looked at Chen Xian. Old man, the little girl asked me to play chess with her. Upon hearing Jiang Feng's words, Chen Xian's aura paused, and then he didn't look at Jiang Feng, his eyes drifting elsewhere. Jiang Feng's chess skills are clear to him, even he cannot match the style of Gu Rongning. How could Ning Rongrong be an opponent? The key is that if Ning Rongrong loses, he will continue to persevere, refusing to accept the loss. Sometimes, Jiang Feng also wants to let go. The key is how good a 6-year-old girl's chess skills can be, so bad that she can't even lose with water. So what happened next time you were with her? Are you looking at me and saying that? Chen Xian waved his long sleeve and said, anyway, you need to accompany her. I'll leave first. Ning Rongrong looked at Jiang Feng with a proud expression on his face, and Jiang Feng could only sigh helplessly. Come on. Then I'll start. Ning Rongrong approached Jiang Feng with a wicked smile on his face. Jiang Feng couldn't help but twitch at the corner of his mouth when he heard Ning Rongrong's words. Damn it, a 6-year-old girl can say something like a princess. Oh no, Ning Rongrong seems to be really a princess, although not the kind of princess she used to know. Jiang Feng would not think that Ning Rongrong was not intentional. This little witch of the Seven Treasures Glass sect is not really as foolish as the original work. On the contrary, after years of contact with Jiang Feng, he discovered that Ning Rongrong is very intelligent. Besides playing chess. General. Ning Rongrong frowned and looked at Jiang Feng, angry and embarrassed, saying, it doesn't count. I didn't pay attention just now. You're a surprise attack. Okay, let's make you regret one step. 10 seconds later, General. Pop. Ning Rongrong flipped the chessboard with one hand. Stop playing, you're playing tricks. Jiang Feng looked calmly at Ning Rongrong and said, for example. For example, I can't even win. It's definitely not that I'm stupid, it's just that you're playing tricks. You're right. Are you still playing? Stop playing. Ning Rongrong angrily ran out of the room. After Ning Rongrong left, Jiang Feng glanced at the sky. It's already dark. Take a shower, sleep, and awaken your martial soul tomorrow. Lying in bed, Jiang Feng couldn't help but ask the system, Alpha Dog, are you there? I am an omniscient system. A good Alpha Dog. Do you think my awakening martial soul tomorrow will really be a sickle? According to the system analysis data, there is a 4% chance of using a sickle, a 5% chance of using a hoe, and a 91% chance of not knowing. Due to the host's recent cultivation of the I Ching tendon, their own soul power has reached the level of innate soul power. Coupled with the host's identity as a transmigrator, their body undergoes unknown changes, with a high probability of mutation. However, the possibility of inheriting the original parent's bloodline is not ruled out. Do you think it's possible for me to awaken that kind of martial soul that shakes the world and tears ghosts and gods? For example, Pangu Axe, the clock of creation. Good night, Mom. Alpha Dog. Alpha Dog. Garbage, I dare not analyze this, sleep and sleep. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Martial Soul Awakening. New books for collection and recommendation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Martial Soul Awakening. New books for collection and recommendation. The next day, Jiang Feng woke up early to wash up, put on his clothes, and arrived at the conference hall. Today is his 6th birthday and also the day when his martial soul awakens. This is the Seven Treasures Glass sect. The core disciples awaken their martial souls on their 6th birthday by the elders within the sect. They do not exist and need to go to the martial soul hall. As the grandson of Sword Douluo Qinshin, although not personally, Jiang Feng's martial soul awakening this time was personally presided over by the old man Qinshin. Seeing Jiang Feng arrive, Chen Xian also smiled and nodded. Although Jiang Feng was picked up by him, his talent has also been recognized by him. Over the years, he has regarded Jiang Feng as his own grandson, and Chen Xian himself attaches great importance to this awakening of martial souls. Fenger, you're here. Jiang Feng nodded. Well, old man, we can start now. Qinshin waved casually and took out the awakening stone from the storage soul guide, placing it in place. A 6-pointed star formation appeared in the center of the hall. Stand in the middle. Jiang Feng stood in the middle of the 6-pointed star according to Chen Xian's words. Qinshin came to Jiang Feng's side, her gaze fixed, and soul power surged out of his hands. With his strength, awakening the martial soul is a small matter that naturally does not require summoning the martial soul. Soul power shot from Qinshin's hands onto the awakening stone, and a faint white light rose. Before Jiang Feng could observe carefully, he heard Qinshin's voice ringing in his ears. Close your eyes and feel the changes inside your body carefully. Waves of white light scattered from the awakening stone and entered Jiang Feng's body. Jiang Feng felt as if something was about to rush out of his body, instinctively extending his right hand. Suddenly, all the dots of light rushed out, and under the cover of the dots, a dark and thick weapon appeared in Jiang Feng's hand. Seeing the martial soul in Jiang Feng's hand, Chen Xian frowned slightly. What kind of martial soul is this? Why have you never seen it before? At the moment when the martial soul appeared, Jiang Feng felt his right hand sink. With his body that had been exercised over the years, there was a feeling of being unable to hold on to it. Jiang Feng instinctively opened his eyes and looked at his right hand. After seeing the martial soul on his hand, Jiang Feng opened his mouth wide and looked incredulous. Fenger, do you know what kind of martial soul this is? Although I don't know this thing, I subconsciously feel that it's not easy. This is the intuition of the title Douluo. Upon hearing Chen Xian's words, Jiang Feng also regained his senses and spoke up, its name is Barrett. Chen Xian's eyebrows remained fixed as he asked with a puzzled expression, do your martial soul belong to the strong attack system or what system? Jiang Feng's mouth curved slightly. Strong attack system. Strong attack series, Qinshin repeated, carefully examining the martial soul in Jiang Feng's hand, as if there were still many doubts. But in the end, he shook his head and took out a blue crystal ball. Forget it, let's first test the innate soul power. Although we don't know what kind of martial soul it is, by looking at the strength of the innate soul power, we can basically see the future development prospects of the martial soul. Jiang Feng's Jing muscle twirled inside his body, directly retracting Barrett and placing his hand on the blue crystal ball. As soon as his palm was pressed against the blue crystal ball, Jiang Feng's body couldn't help but tremble, and his soul power was crazily sucked away by the blue crystal ball. In the incredulous gaze of the dust heart, the blue crystal began to emit a dazzling light, but in the blink of an eye, the crystal shone like a blue gemstone. The nearby Qinshin exclaimed in surprise upon seeing this, innate full soul power. At this moment, Jiang Feng also regained control of his body, regained his soul power, and looked at Chen Xian with a calm expression. After all, he had already known the result. Chen Xian's eyes lit up as he looked at Jiang Feng and said, "Fenger, you should know what innate full soul power represents, right?" Jiang Feng nodded. "I know. Are you sure your martial soul is a strong attack type? You should know that once the development direction of your martial soul is wrong, the impact on soul masters can be incredibly huge." Jiang Feng silently summoned Barrett, aimed the muzzle at Qinshin, pressed his small face against the barrel, aimed at Qinshin, and pulled the trigger with his right index finger. For some reason, when Jiang Feng aimed his gun at Chen Xian, he frowned unconsciously, as if he had been targeted by something, feeling very uncomfortable. Bang! A strong firelight flashed from the muzzle, and a pitch-black bullet burst out from inside, heading straight towards Qinshin. In just an instant, Qinshin felt as if she was being targeted by a venomous snake, subconsciously releasing her martial soul. Martial soul possessed. The soul rings of 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black instantly rose from Qinshin's feet, and the 7-kill sword also appeared on his right hand. Without any hesitation, Qinshin swung his sword towards the bullets rushing towards him. Under the powerful power of Qinshin, the bullet was split in half and scattered towards both sides of Qinshin's body. Boom! A huge roar came from behind Chen Xian's body. Chen Xian turned his head and couldn't help but contract his pupils. 2 large pits instantly appeared in the hall behind me. You should know that the 7 Treasures Glass sect is not an ordinary wealthy person, and the materials used in their conference hall are also not ordinary materials. Even if it is a powerful attack on the Soul Lord, it is impossible to leave such a big mark on the ground with a single blow. And Jiang Feng only used 1 blow. It's still a blow after cracking it myself. Upon seeing this scene, Qinshin looked at Jiang Feng with excitement on her face, and her gaze towards Barrett also became fiery. "Fenger, your martial soul is very good." Upon hearing Chen Xian's words, Jiang Feng's lips also slightly curled up. "Don't be too happy, old man. With my current strength, at most 2 shots, I don't have much soul power." Qinshin frowned, but the next second she let go. It's reasonable to think about it. After all, Jiang Feng is just a soul warrior who has not yet obtained a soul ring, and his attack power can directly reach the soul master. If there are no restrictions, it would be too outrageous. Not bad either. With such killing power, even the top-level martial soul Haotian hammer cannot match. Jiang Feng couldn't help but curl his lips in his heart. Haotian hammer is a fart, and if he gets a higher level in the future, he can shoot and explode it. When are we going to obtain the soul ring, old man? For the soul ring, Jiang Feng is still looking forward to it. His I Ching tendon reached its peak a year ago, and his soul power has not broken through. With a year of warm cultivation, his body can already withstand the soul ring of 765 years. He is still looking forward to obtaining soul rings. Qinshin nodded and said, "Wait for me here. I'll go talk to the sect leader and the old bone, and then I'll take you to obtain the soul ring." The awakening of the martial soul this time only consists of Jiang Feng and Chen Xian. If Chen Xian wants to go out, he must tell Ning Fengji. Lest he go out with his front foot and Gu Rong go out with his back foot, then if Ning Fengji has an accident, it will be troublesome. "Okay, I'll wait for you here." Qinshin responded and then dispersed, disappearing directly into the original place. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Claw Tiger. New books for collection and recommendation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Claw Tiger. New books for collection and recommendation. Uncle Gu, you and Uncle Jian can't continue like this. Rongrong's martial soul has been awakened for almost half a year, and she hasn't reached level 10 yet. If this continues, her talent will be ruined. Ning Fengji rubbed his eyebrows and looked helplessly at the old man teasing Ning Rongrong on the side. The old man was dressed in a black robe, with a thick skeleton supporting his clothes, looking like a hanger. Title Douluo Bon Douluo, Gu Rong. A hint of indifference flashed on Gu Rong's face. Fengji, it's not that I'm talking about you. You know the flaws of the Seven Treasures Glass Pagoda yourself. Even if you cultivate it, you can't reach the soul Douluo. With me and Sword Old Man here, I can't guarantee anything else. It's still easy to ensure Rongrong's lifelong safety. Upon hearing Gu Rong's words, Ning Rongrong also made a face at Ning Fengji. That's right, Dad really doesn't have Grandpa Gu hurting me. Seeing the appearance of Gu Rong and Ning Rongrong, Ning Fengji also let out a sigh. Alas, of course I know that. However, there are currently no young people with particularly outstanding talents among our generation of Seven Treasures and Glass sect. If Rongrong cannot carry the banner, I am afraid that something will happen in the future. You and Sword Uncle are fine now, but what about 100 years from now? Children and grandchildren have their own blessings. Besides, Rongrong in our family is an auxiliary soul master. What else do you want her to do? Take the Seven Treasures Glass Pagoda and smash people. At this moment, a gust of wind blew by, and Chen Xian's hearty laughter appeared in their ears. Ha, Fengji, you don't have to worry anymore. Who says there are no successors for my Seven Treasures Glass sect? Seeing the arrival of Qinshin, Ning Fengji also nodded at him. Uncle Jian. Later, Ning Fengji remembered what Chen Xian had just said and asked with a puzzled expression, Uncle Jian, what did you mean by what you just said? Ha ha ha. Chen Xian smiled heartily and then looked at Gu Rong with a proud expression. My family, Fenger, is a strong attack-type soul master with innate full soul power. What? Innate full soul power. Upon hearing Qinshin's words, Gu Rong and Ning Fengji both looked at Qinshin in surprise. Ning Fengji said with an excited expression, Uncle Jian, are you telling the truth? That's natural. Fenger not only has innate full soul power, but her martial soul is also top-notch, no less than Haotian hammer. I just tested it. Gu Rong, who was standing beside her, curled her lips and said, isn't it just luck that she picked up a good grandson? She's so proud that no matter how strong he is, he can have my family's Rongrong and be cute. It's Ba Rongrong. Speaking, Gu Rong pinched Ning Rongrong's small face with her hand and said with a smile on her face. Chen Xian heard Gu Rong's sour chirping tone, and his face became even more proud. Fengji, I'll take the little one to obtain the soul ring first. Let's talk more later. Ning Fengji nodded and said, okay. Chen Xian raised his head and looked at Gu Rong with a proud expression, snorted, and then disappeared into a stream of light. After Chen Xian left, Ning Fengji looked at Ning Rongrong with a speechless expression and said, Rongrong, Jiang Feng woke up so late than you. Now he's going to get the soul ring, and you're still playing. Upon hearing Ning Fengji's words, Ning Rongrong also pouted and looked displeased. I won't be worse than him. Grandpa Gu, I'm going to practice. After speaking, Ning Rongrong broke free from Gu Rong's embrace and ran towards the outside. Seeing Ning Rongrong's departure, Ning Fengji's face also showed a faint smile. Sure enough, it's still a child. Jiang Feng waited in the hall for a moment, and the figure of Qinshin appeared in front of him again. Let's go Fenger, Grandpa will take you to obtain the soul ring. Jiang Feng responded and then followed Chen Xian out of the hall. Qinshin held Jiang Feng in one hand and his soul power surged, rushing directly towards the sunset forest near Tiando City. As a super Douluo at level 96, besides the speed of Sword Douluo, it only took 15 minutes to reach the outskirts of Sunset Forest. Upon landing, Jiang Feng was let down and Chen Xian spoke up, Fenger, I'm not very clear about your martial soul. What type of soul beast do you want? Tell Grandpa and Grandpa will find it for you. Upon hearing Chen Xian's words, Jiang Feng also asked the system inwardly, Alpha Dog, what soul beast am I suitable for? Both are possible. Barrett, as a long-range explosive martial soul, has enormous development potential, and generally speaking, the vast majority of soul beasts are suitable. Upon hearing the system's words, Jiang Feng also turned his head to look at Chen Xian. Old man, let's take a look first. I'm not very sure either. Qinxin frowned slightly, not knowing the direction of the development of martial souls is a very troublesome thing. Once the choice is wrong, it can have a lifelong impact on soul masters. However, seeing Jiang Feng's serious expression, Chen Xian could only sigh. Okay. Old man, let me go ahead. I haven't fought with soul beasts before. I want to give it a try. Can. Qinxin also agrees with Jiang Feng's idea. After all, with him as a titled Douluo, Jiang Feng's chance of getting injured outside the sunset forest is infinitely close to zero. It can just add some practical experience to Jiang Feng. Jian Qinxin agreed, and Jiang Feng also walked towards the sunset forest. As one of the three major soul beast forests in Dui, Sunset Forest, although not as large as Star Forest in scale, is still more than enough to obtain the first soul ring. Open the built.in reconnaissance mode of the system, and a transparent light curtain appears in front of you. Look at the traces of walking on the ground, and the system will automatically analyze the data. Jiang Feng can easily determine which soul beasts passed through here from the traces on the ground. According to the system prompt, Jiang Feng quickly arrived at the foot of a huge tree, and at the root of the tree, a tiger-shaped soul beast was lying quietly there. The soul beast is milky white all over, with long fangs extending from both sides of its mouth. Seeing Jiang Feng, the soul beast sat up fiercely, its body slightly bowed, and its two tiger claws were also exposed. For Jiang Feng, who suddenly broke into his territory, the soul beast showed no kindness. And Jiang Feng also saw information about this soul beast in front of him. Claw Tiger, 702 years old, has a 90% chance of absorbing its soul ring to obtain its sharpness feature. Upon seeing the information from the Claw Tiger, Jiang Feng's mouth curved slightly. It seems lucky, the first soul beast is very suitable. Both the soul skills and age that come with absorption are just right. Bang! Just as Jiang Feng was surveying the Claw Tiger, it moved. The hind limbs stomped fiercely on the ground, instantly transforming into a silhouette and rushing towards Jiang Feng. Seeing this scene, the dusty heart not far away was slightly condensed, ready to take action at any time. You should know that a soul beast that has been around for 700 years can now confront the great soul master head-on, while Jiang Feng is just a soul master who has not yet obtained a soul ring. Jiang Feng turned his back to Chen Xian, his mouth curled up in a place he hadn't seen. Just as the Claw Tiger approached Jiang Feng, a clear dynamic trace appeared in front of him. System Prediction. Jiang Feng stepped on his right foot and leaned backwards, perfectly avoiding the attack of the clawed tiger. The tiger's claws could barely pass over his head. Soul power condensed, and Jiang Feng punched fiercely on the jaw of the Claw Tiger. Here, it's its weakness. Being hit in the jaw, there was a slight pain on the face of the Claw Tiger, and a fierce light appeared in its eyes. However, the instinct of the soul beast made it retreat a bit. This human is not simple. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Armor-piercing bullets. New books for collection and recommendation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Armor-piercing bullets. New books for collection and recommendation. Seeing the Claw Tiger retreat, Jiang Feng's eyes flashed with a hint of disdain. Is that all? Is this a soul beast? At this level? I want to laugh. At present, they also took the initiative to launch an attack, showing explosive strength on their legs and rushing towards the Claw Tiger. Seeing Jiang Feng take the initiative to attack him, a hint of ferocity flashed in the eyes of the Claw Tiger. This human. bullying people too much. Just as Jiang Feng was about to approach the claw tiger raised its giant paw and slammed it fiercely towards Jiang Feng's head. Under the analysis of the system, it is impossible for Jiang Feng to avoid this blow. But Jiang Feng didn't panic at all. He lifted his left hand high and resisted the attack of the claw tiger, taking a step forward with his right leg. Infinitely close to the face of the claw tiger. Puff. Jiang Feng spurted out a mouthful of fresh blood from his mouth. The 700-year soul beast's full force strike is not something he can withstand with his current strength. This strike injured Jiang Feng. But Jiang Feng's eyes flashed with a hint of smile. With a hollow grip on his right hand, his soul power condensed and Barrett appeared in Jiang Feng's hand, with the barrel pressing against the bloodthirsty jaws of the claw tiger. A dangerous aura came from the barrel of the gun, and a hint of panic flashed through the sharp claws and tiger eyes, subconsciously wanting to escape. But how could Jiang Feng let it go? Grasping one of the giant claws of the claw tiger with his left hand, gently pulling the trigger with his right hand. I bloom in the midst of slaughter, just like a flower in the dawn. Oh my God! Boom! A huge explosion sounded, and Barrett directly hit and exploded the head of the claw tiger, with blood flowing down the barrel onto Jiang Feng's hand. Jiang Feng put away Barrett in his hand and looked at the clawed tiger on the ground, which had lost any breath. Jiang Feng curled his lips. Is that all? The Qinshin behind him also breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this scene. When Jiang Feng was injured just now, he wanted to take action, but when he saw Barrett's gun barrel blocking the mouth of the claw tiger, Qinshin knew that everything was in Jiang Feng's calculation. Just as he breathed a sigh of relief, the next second, Chen Xian saw Jiang Feng sitting next to the body of the claw tiger, absorbing the deep yellow soul ring. Pills. This is a soul beast that has been around for 700 years, and it's not at all the level that Jiang Feng's first soul ring can absorb. Qinshin flashed and came to Jiang Feng's side, but before he could stop him, Jiang Feng had already absorbed it. Seeing this scene, Qinshin frowned tightly. This little bastard, why are you so reckless? Forget it, just interrupt him when the meeting doesn't go well. Although it may hurt his body, he can still be recuperated with the strength of the 7 treasures and glass sect. Let's take it as a lesson for him this time. Jiang Feng was too lazy to explain to Qinshin. Taking advantage of Qinshin's relaxation of vigilance, Jiang Feng directly chose to absorb it. The power of the soul ring was gradually absorbed into Jiang Feng's body. Jiang Feng felt as if his body had broken some kind of shackles, and the originally stagnant I Ching muscle, which had been stagnant for over a year, began to run wildly. In just an instant, Jiang Feng broke through the first layer and arrived at the second layer of the I Ching tendon. And the soul power inside the body is still growing wildly. Feeling this change, Jiang Feng sank his heart and began to absorb the constant stream of soul power. In this year of cultivation, his limit has already reached over 760 years, and a soul ring of exactly 700 years, Jiang Feng, absorbs it without any pressure. Chen Xian, who was guarding Jiang Feng's side, also noticed something was wrong. Jiang Feng's breathing was extremely stable from the beginning of absorbing soul rings, as if absorbing soul rings had no difficulty at all. This made Qinshin feel a little puzzled. Is this guy really absorbing soul rings? Half an hour later, a deep yellow soul ring appeared under Jiang Feng's feet. Seeing this scene, Chen Xian's pupils were filled with shock. You should know that the maximum lifespan of the first soul ring of a soul master is 423 years, which is a standard that countless people in the soul master world have practiced with their lives. Even the 7 treasures glass sect, his Qinshin and Gurong have not exceeded this limit. But now Jiang Feng has exceeded this age limit. And it's not 1 or 2 years, it's almost 300 years. As a titled Douluo, Qinshin can determine the approximate age of the clawed tiger in front of him with just a glance. At this moment, Jiang Feng also woke up after absorbing and looked at Chen Xian in front of him. Jiang Feng stood up and shook his hand in front of Chen Xian. Old man. Qinxin also regained consciousness, with an incredulous expression on her face. Have you finished absorbing it? Is there any discomfort in the body? Not bad. Oh, that's not right. Qinxin carefully scrutinized Jiang Feng, as if wanting to see him through. Jiang Feng was also taken aback by Chen Xian and took the initiative to say, Old man, I know this soul beast has exceeded its lifespan, but just now I had a strong impulse, as if it was an attraction between martial souls, and I couldn't control myself. Upon hearing Jiang Feng's words, Chen Xian's gaze also fixed. What is your first soul skill? Jiang Feng's mouth curved slightly and said, Old man, I'll demonstrate it to you. Speaking, Jiang Feng flipped his right hand and Barrett appeared in his hand. Aim ahead, Jiang Feng pulls the trigger. Boom. The barrel of the gun emitted flames, and a large hole with a diameter of about 1 meter instantly appeared at the trunk of the big tree in front of me. Seeing this scene, Qinxin frowned slightly. This is no different from before. Jiang Feng smiled. Just now it was just a normal state, let me show you my soul skills. As he spoke, the deep yellow soul ring at Jiang Feng's feet shone. The next second, a deep yellow bullet appeared in Jiang Feng's hand, and the soul ring at his feet also disappeared. Jiang Feng loaded the bullets into Barrett and then changed direction, pulling the trigger with his right index finger. Bang! A crisp popping sound sounded as the bullet pierced through one tree after another and plunged into a mountain several hundred meters away, under the gaze of the dusty heart. Every tree that passes through leaves only a bullet-sized hole. Although this soul skill may not appear as powerful as the initial form of a martial soul, the pupils of the dust heart suddenly contracted. Because of that bullet, it shot through the mountain peak. You know, this is a distance of several hundred meters. Qinxin looked at Jiang Feng with fiery eyes. Fenger, let me introduce your first soul skill to Grandpa. The state of Qinxin was also expected by Jiang Feng, who smiled and explained. My first soul skill is the armor-piercing bullet, which can transform the soul ring into a bullet. Unlike the initial form of a martial soul, after loading this armor-piercing bullet, the bullets fired will have a sharp effect. As you can see, the only drawback is that only one bullet can be fired in a short period of time. Qinxin nodded. Like the initial form, it has great power, but the CD is long. Reasonable. Since you have obtained the soul ring, let's go back. Okay. Qinxin lifted Jiang Feng's collar, his soul power surging, and flew directly towards the 7 treasures of the glass sect. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Good Sun Tzu. New books for collection and recommendation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Good Sun Tzu. New books for collection and recommendation. Qinxin took Jiang Feng directly to the conference hall of the 7 treasures glass sect. Ning Fengji and Gu Rong were still discussing something here. Seeing Chen Xian bringing Jiang Feng back, both of them looked at Jiang Feng at the same time, their eyes shining brightly. Uncle Jian, you're back. Qinxin nodded. Well, I'm lucky this time. I just went to the sunset forest and soon met a suitable soul beast, Fengji. Can you guess the age of Feng Er's soul beast this time? As she spoke, Qinxin glanced smugly at Gu Rong beside her. A hint of disdain appeared at the corner of Gu Rong's mouth. Humph, there's nothing to be proud of, at most it's only around 400 years. Ning Fengji's eyes flashed with a hint of contemplation. Can the peak of difficulty still exceed the limit of service life? When saying this, Ning Fengji was also somewhat uncertain. After all, absorbing soul rings beyond the age limit is easy to explode and die. Even with Qinxin guarding on the side, absorption failure would have a very serious impact on soul masters. Qinxin should not do such a thing. Unexpectedly, a strange smile appeared on Chen Xian's face. Fenger, tell Lord Ning and Lao Gu how many years of soul beasts you have absorbed this time. Jiang Feng looked at Chen Xian with some helplessness. This old man is good everywhere, but he can't change his jealousy with Gu Rong. The two of them have been fighting for a lifetime, always wanting to make each other envious in some way. However, since the old man spoke up, Jiang Feng still answered honestly, "Report to my lord, ancient master. My first soul ring absorbs a 700-year-old claw tiger." What? Upon hearing Jiang Feng's words, Ning Fengji and Gu Rong both exclaimed in surprise. You should know that this is already the limit of the second soul ring's lifespan, and as the first soul ring, one can only seek death. Thinking of this, even Ning Fengji couldn't help but blame Chen Xian with a glance. Uncle Jian, this is your impulse. You should know that absorbing soul rings beyond the limit years can easily lead to explosive death, let alone exceeding the limit years for hundreds of years. Hearing Ning Feng's words, Chen Xian was also blush. Before he could speak, Jiang Feng beside him explained for him. Master, you misunderstood. It was not the decision of the old man, it was my own choice. My martial spirit gave birth to a kind of charisma that I could not refuse, and I could not help but absorb it for a while. Upon hearing Jiang Feng's words, Gu Rong and Ning Fengji also looked at him at the same time, especially Gu Rong, whose eyes flashed with a strange expression. This situation does occur, but it usually occurs in situations where the origin is similar. Is it possible that Jiang Feng's martial soul is a clawed tiger? Qinqin also saw what Gu Rong was thinking and said, Fenger, show your martial soul to the sect leader. Jiang Feng responded and then summoned Barrett. Looking at Barrett's strange appearance, Ning Fengji glanced at Gu Rong and then turned to Jiang Feng. What kind of martial soul is this? Why have you never seen it before? A wicked smile rose from the corner of Qinqin's mouth. Old bone, do you want to try it yourself? Just give it a try. Gu Rong snorted coldly. Qinqin has been showing off all day, and he has long been unhappy. Usually, the two of them fight back and forth. Today, they have been suppressed by Chen Xian's grandson Jiang Feng, and Gu Rong has long been unhappy. Now that Chen Xian is provoking him, he can't bear it anymore. Upon hearing Gu Rong's words, Chen Xian said to Jiang Feng beside him, Fenger, let me show you Grandpa Gu your first soul skill. Jiang Feng saw Chen Xian's wicked smile at the corner of his mouth, and naturally knew what he wanted to do. He also reminded him immediately. Old master, my first soul skill can only be released once in a short period of time, and its power is a bit strong. Please be careful. Gu Rong's eyes flashed with a brilliant light. Although he liked to fight against Chen Xian, it didn't mean he was a reckless person. Since Chen Xian thought Jiang Feng's first soul skill would surprise him, it must be quite impressive. Especially Jiang Feng himself said so. However, as a titled Douluo, Gu Rong naturally did not believe that Jiang Feng could harm him. Currently, he was also holding his hands behind his back with a proud expression on his face. Little one, don't worry and try boldly. Seeing Gu Rong's posture, Jiang Feng also shrugged his shoulders. Forget it, anyway, I can't hurt the title Douluo myself. Thinking of this, Jiang Feng also aimed his gun at Gu Rong. The soul ring under his feet appeared, and a deep yellow light flashed through. The soul ring instantly turned into a deep yellow bullet and appeared in Jiang Feng's hand. Loading the bullet, Jiang Feng aimed at Gu Rong and gently pulled the trigger. Bang! The crisp sound of bullets coming out of the barrel appeared in everyone's ears, and the next second, a deep yellow stream of light fiercely attacked Gu Rong. Gu Rong was completely focused on watching Jiang Feng's movements. As soon as the bullet was fired, his soul power surged around him, forming a barrier in front of him. However, at the moment when the bullet touched the soul power barrier, the barrier surprisingly fluctuated, as if it would break open at any time. Gu Rong frowned and increased the output of soul power. After persisting for more than 10 seconds, the bullet fell to the ground like it had lost its power, transforming into soul power and disappearing. Although Gu Rong's defense was not broken, his gaze towards Jiang Feng instantly became incorrect. The just frontal resistance also made Gu Rong realize how powerful Jiang Feng's strike was. Ning Fengji on the side looked a bit confused. After all, the bullet just now had a slightly faster speed and couldn't see anything at all. Curiously, he asked, "Uncle Gu, what's the problem?" Upon hearing Ning Fengji's words, Gu Rong also looked at him with a straight face. "Fengji, with this strike just now, I estimate I can smash the Soul Lord's defense head on." "What?" Ning Fengji's pupils contracted for a moment. "You should know that Jiang Feng is just a soul master who has just obtained the first soul ring. Not even a great soul master. But it can shatter the defense of Soul Lord, crossing 2 levels in a row." The look at Jiang Feng at the moment also became much fiercer. "Although I don't know what Jiang Feng's martial soul is, there is no doubt that it is an attack-type martial soul. Whether it's a strong attack or a quick attack, they are all talents that are very scarce in the 7 Treasures Glass sect now. Moreover, Jiang Feng still has innate soul power." Thinking of this, Ning Fengji's face was also filled with a smile. "Uncle Jian, you have a great-grandson. Everyone knows that Jiang Feng was an orphan picked up by Chen Xian when he went out on a mission a few years ago, but no one expected that Jiang Feng would be a genius without a trace." Chen Xian also smiled when she heard Ning Fengji's words. "The sect leader praised us. Feng is a member of our 7 Treasures Glass sect, and that's what makes us happy." Upon hearing this, Jiang Feng on the side only smiled and didn't say much. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Sharp Spine-Backed Snake, New Book for Collection and Recommendation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Sharp Spine-Backed Snake, New Book for Collection and Recommendation. A few people discussed Jiang Feng's future development path again, and then let him go back. After a unanimous decision by several people, Jiang Feng was chosen as the guardian deity stone of the future 7 Treasures Glass sect, just like the current Qinshin and Gurong. After all, Jiang Feng now exhibits extraordinary combat power, and with his innate soul power, he is almost certain to become a title Douluo in the future. With the cultivation of Chen Xian and Gu Rong, Jiang Feng's future is promising. However, Jiang Feng himself does not deny this idea. He knows that there are 2 divine mansions in the Douluo continent that he can inherit, and simply granting him the Douluo title is not his ultimate goal. However, there are some things that are inconvenient for him to say now, so he has to keep them in his heart, such as those immortal herbs, and Jiang Feng can't find an excuse to say them. He has been in the 7 Treasures Glass sect since childhood, and the only time he left the sect was today to obtain a soul ring. How can he explain that he knows the location of the immortal grass? When there's a chance in the future, take the heart of dust and rob Dugubo. Thinking of this, Jiang Feng also sat on the bed and looked at the transparent screen in front of him. Host. Jiang Feng, age. 6 years old, martial soul. Barrett, soul power level. Level 15 Soul Master, first soul skill. Armor-piercing bullet, that's right, after absorbing the soul ring of the Claw Tiger for 700 years, Jiang Feng jumped to level 15. You should know, just like Tang San in the original work, he has been stuck at level 10 for over a year. It's different from Tang San. He has absorbed a soul ring that has been around for 700 years, and his life is much better than Tang San's. In the original work, Tang San has absorbed a mandala snake that has been around for 400 years and is now at level 13. Jiang Feng is far ahead of Tang San in all aspects, and there is no problem at level 15. At this point, the cultivation plan that the system had originally customized for him also changed. After all, his strength has improved significantly compared to before. As an omniscient system, the cultivation plan it creates for Jiang Feng is the most suitable, without excessive overdraft of Jiang Feng's body, and can maximize the development of Jiang Feng's body, making him stronger. Feeling the vigorous power in his body, Jiang Feng couldn't help but clench his fist. In this life, I will suppress everyone. Taking advantage of the hot blood in his body, Jiang Feng directly began today's cultivation. It wasn't until after 5 p.m. that Jiang Feng stopped practicing for a day. Practicing is not about practicing to death, like in the original work. The master's cultivation of Tang San and his companions was just some crude methods, which in the eyes of the systematic Jiang Feng, he simply looked down upon them. The truly effective exercise is to create a perfect cultivation plan based on one's own physical condition, not wasting every muscle of one's body, while not causing damage to one's foundation. The cultivation method of the master is entirely due to the fact that the practitioners are all soul masters. If it were an ordinary person, their muscles would have dissolved and they would have died. After washing up, Jiang Feng changed his clothes and sat cross-legged on the bed to start practicing. Jiang Feng's days later were very planned, either in cultivation or on the way to cultivation. But his cultivation plan is not excessive, and the allocation of each stage is very reasonable. Most of the time, Jiang Feng strengthened his body according to the exercise plan provided by the system, and then cooperated with the core disciples of the Seven Treasures and Glass sect for practical exercises. During this process, Chen Xian and others also discovered Jiang Feng's combat talent. In battles of the same rank, Jiang Feng was basically in an impossible state of failure. He had a natural combat instinct and could easily determine the enemy's next attack, thus organizing the most suitable defense and counterattack. And as the protector of the Seven Treasures of the Glass sect in the future, Ning Fengji is very willing to invest in cultivating Jiang Feng. Knowing that Jiang Feng can exercise himself, Ning Fengji arranges a large amount of high-quality spiritual medicine to warm and nourish Jiang Feng's body every day. At the same time, let Qinxin help take care of Jiang Feng to prevent any accidents during his cultivation process. In this situation, Jiang Feng's cultivation speed is also thousands of miles per day. In just 10 months, Jiang Feng's soul power reached level 20. On average, one level every 2 months. The terrifying cultivation speed, even Qinxin and others couldn't help but shudder. Although Soul Master's early cultivation may be relatively rapid, Jiang Feng's speed is also shocking. What they don't actually know is that these are all thanks to the system. Although the system only provides cultivation plans, as long as Jiang Feng is willing to persist, the effect is naturally extraordinary. After all, the system is the person who understands Jiang Feng the most in the world, and has an unparalleled understanding of his body structure. No one knows better than it how to fully unleash Jiang Feng's physical potential without harming his own foundation. After reaching level 20, Jiang Feng spent a few more days consolidating his cultivation, and then went to the Sunset Forest with Chen Xian. Looking at the year 2354 indicated on the panel, Jiang Feng couldn't help but curl his lips. The second soul ring lasts for 2,000 years, which is not something that the protagonist group can compare to. In this life, I am the protagonist. Just like last time, it was still Qinxin following Jiang Feng behind and letting him search for the soul beast on his own. Although there were also people in the Seven Treasures Glass sect who accompanied Jiang Feng to enhance his combat skills, it was still a sparring and not a real battle. Unlike soul beasts, one careless move could result in losing his life. Especially this time, Jiang Feng chose a soul beast that has been over 2,000 years old. This time, Jiang Feng took the initiative to inform Qinxin of the number of years he wanted to absorb soul beasts, because he would continue to absorb soul rings at higher levels in the future. He didn't want to be stopped by Qinxin, so he simply revealed it. Although Jiang Feng's approach made Chen Xian feel very adventurous, after seeing Jiang Feng's first soul ring, Chen Xian still decided to let him give it a try. After all, it's just a Millennium Soul Ring. With his strength, he can completely prevent Jiang Feng from exploding and dying. The heritage of the Seven Treasures Glass sect can also help Jiang Feng's body recover. And once successful, Jiang Feng leads countless soul masters in the initial stage. Grandpa and son searched for a long time, and finally, by a dark swamp, Jiang Feng saw his target this time. Target: sharp-spined snake, duration 2,140 years, there is a 90% chance of absorbing its soul ring to obtain its sharp spike feature, thereby causing the bullet to undergo sharp changes. Seeing the introduction of the system, Jiang Feng's mouth curled up. Hands on. Without any hesitation, Jiang Feng took out Barrett and quietly aimed at the head of the sharp-spined snake from a distance of over 100 meters. The deep yellow soul ring transformed into an armor-piercing bullet and was loaded onto Jiang Feng's chest. Bang! A crisp sound of breaching rang out, and the next second, a sharp wind-breaking sound sounded. A deep yellow thread rushed towards the sharp-spined snake. Is anyone watching? Can someone make a sound? End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Interesting, new books for collection and recommendation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Interesting, new books for collection and recommendation. The sharp-spined snake in the swamp exploded all its sharp spines in the moment it opened its attack. This is an instinct from the depths of the soul. But it doesn't know where the danger comes from. When the bullet hit its head, it had not yet reacted. Until the bullet passed through its body, drawing a long strand of blood, it finally realized that it had been attacked. But it's already late now. The brain becomes drowsy, and consciousness is about to fall into darkness. However, the pain borne by the body makes it unable to resist howling, and the body unconsciously swings on the swamp surface. At that moment, a figure appeared in front of it. The young man smiled at the corner of his mouth, as if he had said something, but at this moment it could no longer hear clearly, and finally reluctantly closed its eyes. After it closed its eyes, a purple soul ring slowly emerged from its corpse. Seeing this scene, Jiang Feng couldn't help but laugh. He originally thought it was a fierce battle. After all, this sharp-spined snake is also a soul beast that has been around for 2,000 years. Generally, soul masters in their 30s cannot defeat it. But no one expected that the power of his armor-piercing bullet was both incredibly fast and powerful, directly killing the little snake with one shot. At this moment, Qinshin also appeared behind Jiang Feng. Looking at the purple soul ring in front of him, Qinshin asked seriously, "Fenger, are you sure?" Jiang Feng turned around and glanced at Chen Xian, then nodded. Seeing Jiang Feng's resolute face, Chen Xian stopped persuading him and began to be fully vigilant. On the one hand, it is to prevent people or soul beasts from ambushing Jiang Feng when he absorbs the soul ring, and on the other hand, it is to prevent Jiang Feng from being unable to absorb the huge energy contained in the soul ring and exploding into death. And Jiang Feng also came to the side of the corpse of the sharp-spined snake, sitting cross-legged, with his I Ching tendons spinning far inside. Barrett in his hand emitted a black halo, slowly attracting his soul ring. The power of the soul ring entered the body, and Jiang Feng couldn't help but sit up straight. After all, this is the first time absorbing a millennium soul ring, and compared to the 700 years of the first soul ring, the energy contained in this 2,000-year soul ring is obviously much greater. The I Ching tendon is running wildly, and the soul power inside the body begins to undergo a qualitative change. The soul power that was originally unable to break through the bottleneck of cultivation finally broke through a certain shackle, and Jiang Feng finally stepped into level 21. The power of the soul ring has not been fully absorbed yet. After all, it is a soul beast that has been around for 2,000 years, and it cannot only help Jiang Feng break through level 1. The soul power is systematically turning far, gradually strengthening Jiang Feng's body. In the eyes of Chen Xian, it was particularly easy for Jiang Feng to absorb soul rings, just like the first time he absorbed soul rings, as if everything was under his control without any risk. As time passed, the purple soul ring on Jiang Feng's body completely disappeared, replaced by an additional purple soul ring under his feet. And Jiang Feng also opened his eyes and woke up. Feeling the changes in his body, Jiang Feng's eyes flashed with a brilliant light. The nearby Qinshin also spoke up and asked, "Fenger, how do you feel?" Jiang Feng smiled. "Very good." "Haha, that's good. Let me introduce your second soul skill to Grandpa." Upon hearing Chen Xian's words, Jiang Feng summoned his martial soul. "Set up the gun and aim at the tree ahead." In the curious gaze of Chen Xian, the purple soul ring at Jiang Feng's feet shone twice, and Barrett's muzzle seemed to have been smeared with a strand of purple. Bang! Fingers pulled the trigger, and a loud sound echoed in their ears. The bullet shot fiercely and was about to touch a tree 100 meters away. The bullet split into 10 pieces and shot fiercely in all directions. Bang bang bang. More than 10 explosions sounded, and Chen Xian couldn't help but frown. "Fenger, your second soul skill should be split. Although it can be considered a group attack, its speed is obviously not as fast as the first soul skill, and its power is also significantly inferior." Upon hearing Chen Xian's words, Jiang Feng just smiled. "Don't worry, old man." After speaking, the yellow soul ring at Jiang Feng's feet turned into a deep yellow bullet and appeared in Jiang Feng's hand. Qinshin seemed to have thought of something, and a glimmer of light flashed in her eyes. The purple soul ring shone a few times, and the deep yellow bullet in Jiang Feng's hand was also stained with a purple pattern, and the volume of the bullet also increased significantly. The bullet loaded, and Jiang Feng forcefully pulled the trigger towards the distance. Bang! The bullet flew out several hundred meters in an instant and arrived at a small mountain peak. At this moment, the deep yellow bullet split into 10 pieces, each of which was the same size as before. Bayu! 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 Every bullet pierced through the small mountain peak, and its power was not weaker than the first soul skill. And the quantity has increased from 1 to 10. Qinshin fell silent. This second soul skill may not seem strong, but upon careful consideration, it is incredibly strong. Whether it is the original attack of the martial soul or the attack after being enhanced with soul skills, the second soul skill can split it into 10 parts. And every attack power and speed are exactly the same as before. It's equivalent to strengthening 10 times. Now Jiang Feng only has 2 soul skills, which may not seem very strong, but what about later? Each soul skill of Jiang Feng can be enhanced tenfold. Who can block it at the same level? Even the higher the level, it's different. Someone can stop it. Thinking of this, Chen Xian's gaze towards Jiang Feng also became slightly fiery. "Ha ha ha, Fenger, you really didn't disappoint Grandpa." Jiang Feng only smiled slightly when he heard Chen Xian's words. Chen Xian's reaction was expected by Jiang Feng. Moreover, every acquisition of soul skills by Jiang Feng can be analyzed by the system in advance, which is equivalent to spoilers, so there is not much surprise. "Old man, if you're okay, let's go back first." Qinshin raised her head slightly, her eyes tilted to a certain position behind her, then lifted Jiang Feng's collar and flew towards the direction of the 7 treasures and glass sect. After the two of them left for a moment, an old man wearing a dark green robe appeared where they had just set foot. The old man's eyes and hair were dark green, with a pair of erect pupils resembling snake pupils, emitting an inexplicable cold aura. Level 91 Title Douluo, Douluo. Watching Chen Xian and Jiang Feng leave, Douluo pondered for a moment before turning his head to look at the mountain peak where Jiang Feng had just tested the power of his soul skills. He murmured to himself, "What kind of martial soul is this? Why have I never seen it before? And the second ring of the millennium? Chen Xian, did you not show me or did you intentionally show me?" After pausing in place for a moment, Lonely Bo waved his robe and left the spot directly. Interesting, the 7 treasures glass sect produced an interesting young man, and Chen Xian deliberately let the old man see it, which is interesting. End of this chapter. Chapter 8 Plan. New books for collection and recommendation. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 8 Plan. New books for collection and recommendation. Jiang Feng, look. I am now a level 24 Soul Master. Ning Rongrong happily pulled Jiang Feng's sleeve and said. But Jiang Feng only said a perfunctory sentence. Oh. Upon hearing Jiang Feng's words, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but pout and look at Ning Fengji across from Jiang Feng. Dad, look. Jiang Feng doesn't even pay attention to people. Ning Fengji couldn't help but smile. Rongrong, Jiang Feng has already taken the Soul Sect. You, the great Soul Master, need to work hard. Ah. Ning Rongrong looked at Jiang Feng in surprise when he heard Ning Fengji's words. Jiang Feng frowned slightly, then his fingers fell down and he gently pushed. General. Ning Fengji shook her head at the sight. Forget it, Fenger, my sect's chess skills are still quite inferior to yours. Jiang Feng also smiled. The sect leader is humble, just lucky. Ning Fengji did not say much on this topic. Over the years, Jiang Feng has never suffered a defeat in chess, and in this regard, even Ning Fengji can only accept defeat. Fenger, how is your cultivation progress now? Your birthday is still 2 months away, are you confident that you can break through to the Soul Sect before the age of 12? Jiang Feng raised his head slightly. It's not a big problem. Upon hearing Jiang Feng's words, Ning Fengji's smile became even more pronounced. Over the years, Jiang Feng has never let down their expectations in cultivation. Coupled with the powerful foundation of the Seven Treasures Glass Sect, Jiang Feng's journey of cultivation can be described as a journey of thousands of miles. Nowadays, Jiang Feng is only 11 years old, but he is already a level 39 Soul Lord. Just one step away is Soul Sect. Well, I have something else to do. Rongrong, come and play chess with Jiang Feng. Ning Rongrong's eyes lit up as he was about to sit down, but Jiang Feng stood up first. I'll go back to practice first. Goodbye. After speaking, before Ning Fengji and Ning Rongrong could react, Jiang Feng turned into a silhouette and left their sight. Jiang Feng. Ning Rongrong's furious voice spread throughout the entire Seven Treasures Glass Sect, and many members of the sect who heard this voice just smiled. Who else besides Jiang Feng can control the little witch Ning Rongrong in the entire sect? Upon arriving at the quiet place behind the mountain, Jiang Feng sat cross-legged on top of the mountain, looking down at the Seven Treasures Glass Sect below and the distant Tiando city. Jiang Feng couldn't help but feel a hint of excitement in his heart. Alpha Dog, can our fourth soul ring be a perpetual soul ring? Under analysis, the data shows that the host currently can withstand up to 9,999 soul beasts. Jiang Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. Is it only 1 year away? I'm only at level 39 now. If I break through to level 40, can't I withstand the soul ring for 10,000 years? The host's current physical endurance for energy attacks is 12,000 years, but after the death of a soul beast, soul vibrations will occur. With the host's current mental strength, the chance of success is 23%, is there no way at all? Lower set, The soul beasts of 10,000 years have already developed a spirit that is no weaker than humans. The host can arrange for Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo to torment them, and then you can help them escape. The specific implementation plan depends on the situation. Upon hearing the system's words, Jiang Feng's eyes lit up. Yeah, if you're not the culprit who killed the soul beast, but the benefactor who helped him escape, wouldn't it be easy to absorb it? And doing so can easily generate soul bones. After all, as long as the torment is severe enough and under extreme resentment, the probability of generating soul bones is very high. The only thing to pay attention to is how to prevent soul beasts from exploding themselves. After all, soul beasts have dignity for thousands of years. However, if Chen Xian and Gu Rong take action together, there won't be much problem. Two titled Douluo can still hold on to a soul beast that has only been around for 10,000 years. Thinking of this, Jiang Feng's heart also became hot. In the original work, Tang San is the fourth ring of 10,000 years. As a traveler, shouldn't he be worse than Tang San, a native? Currently, Jiang Feng is also working harder to cultivate. As time passed day by day, Jiang Feng's 12th birthday was getting closer and closer. On this day, the sun was shining brightly, and Jiang Feng sat cross-legged at the top of the mountain, with a gentle breeze blowing by. An inexplicable aura emanated from Jiang Feng's body, and after a moment, it returned to calmness. Jiang Feng opened his eyes, and a brilliant light flashed through them. Level 40. After a month, Jiang Feng finally broke through. After a slight adjustment, Jiang Feng also descended the mountain and arrived at the conference hall. At this moment, Chen Xian, Gu Rong, and Ning Fengji's father and daughter were both present. Just now, Chen Xian and Gu Rong also felt the movement of Jiang Feng's breakthrough. Although it was just an instant, the two still sensed it. Nowadays, Jiang Feng is their heartthrob, fearing that something might happen to him, so they are particularly concerned about him. Now seeing Jiang Feng coming over, Chen Xian couldn't help but ask, "Fenger, did you break through?" Chen Xian didn't even notice, and her tone trembled slightly when she said these words. This is excitement. Seeing Chen Xian's expression, Jiang Feng also smiled and nodded. Okay. Qinxin said 3 good words on her face, while the others looked at Jiang Feng excitedly. 11-year-old soul sect. Who wouldn't be excited about this exchange? Ning Fengji also slightly raised his head at this moment and said, "Fenger, what soul beast do you want this time? Let Uncle Jian and Uncle Gu help you catch it." Jiang Feng curled his lips and said, "This time, I'm going to challenge the eternal soul beast." What? Everyone present looked surprised. If anyone in Douluo continent has the most profound research on martial souls, it is none other than the Seven Treasures Glass sect. After all, the highest level of cultivation for each generation of direct disciples is to reach the Soul Saint realm. After reaching the Soul Saint, their remaining life is basically exploring the secrets of martial souls. Their understanding of the eternal soul beast is more profound than any title Douluo, and they naturally know what risks are hidden behind Jiang Feng's words. Gu Rong was about to say something, but Jiang Feng stopped him and explained the plan he had discussed with the system. After listening, everyone couldn't help but remain silent. After a moment of silence, Ning Fengji looked up and said, "Feng Er's plan is quite feasible, it's just that Uncle Jian and Uncle Gu have worked hard." Qinxin waved her hand. "Old Bone and I have nothing to do anyway, and we are also idle when we are idle. I am just worried that in case of failure, the energy impact of the 10,000-year soul beast is not for fun. Even if we barely save Feng Er, it may cause indelible damage to his foundation." Gu Rong on the side also nodded. "Yeah, Fenger, you're still young. The second ring is 2,000 years old, and the third soul ring is a rare 6,500 years old. Although the fourth soul ring is still a waste of 1,000 years, safety is the most important. Your final journey is the peak of the mainland, and it's not cost-effective to build a soul ring for the future." Jiang Feng didn't speak, just quietly looked at Gu Rong. Looking at Jiang Feng's gaze, Gu Rong and Chen Xian exchanged a glance. Since Fenger has chosen this road, the two of us old guys' constant obstruction seems to make our vision short-sighted. After speaking, Gu Rong burst into laughter first. "Don't ask me why other families and sects don't use this method, because Jiang Feng is the protagonist and others have been subdued by me. Am I a loser or not?" End of this chapter. Chapter 9, Fourth Soul Ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9, Fourth Soul Ring. Since that's the case, do you have a favorite soul beast yourself, Fenger? Ning Fengji looked at Jiang Feng and said, since it was Jiang Feng who proposed it, he must have had his own ideas. Jiang Feng nodded and said, 10,000 years of charming fox. Upon hearing Jiang Feng's words, Chen Xian and Gu Rong exchanged a glance, slightly puzzled. Feng'er, Meihu is considered a control-type soul beast. Generally speaking, the soul skills given are related to spiritual power. Can your martial soul still use spiritual power? For Chen Xian's confusion, Jiang Feng just smiled and didn't explain much. Because he couldn't clearly analyze this matter with Chen Xian and others. According to the analysis of the system, the so-dot called spiritual force is a special magnetic field, and when the magnetic field encounters a thermal weapon, it can produce a qualitative change. As long as your luck is not too bad this time, you should be able to obtain the soul skills you want. A few people saw that Jiang Feng had made a decision and didn't say much. From Jiang Feng's plan just now, they could tell that Jiang Feng had been planning this matter for a long time, so he must have his own ideas. They have also witnessed Jiang Feng's wisdom over the years, so naturally they will not doubt him too much. Master, let me go this time and catch the Meihu. Then I will lock it up in the sect and slowly recuperate. Qinxin raised her head slightly and said. Ning Fengji nodded at the sight. Then please trouble Uncle Jian. It's a small matter, Feng'er is my grandson. I can still do this, but I still need the help of the old bones when I turn around. Speaking, Chen Xian glanced at Gu Rong, who also nodded slightly. Completely disintegrating the will of a 1,000-year soul beast is obviously not a short-term solution, and the process is bound to be long. Even the title Douluo cannot guarantee that one person can complete it. It is impossible to say that the two will have a will battle with the Meihu. After the plan was completed, Qinxin also left the conference hall. Jiang Feng was chatting with Gu Rong and others in the same place, waiting for Chen Xian's return. Although Qinxin does not have systematic assistance, as a title Douluo, his spiritual power is not average strength. In just half a day, Qinxin captured the eternal fox and locked it in a secret room within the sect. Then he began to torment the will of the fox in the secret room. Jiang Feng, Gu Rong, and others watched the scene inside through a special soul guide outdoors, with no change in their eyes. Jiang Feng is not a virgin bee, he wouldn't think it's inhumane. To blame, we can only blame the different positions of both sides. Is it wrong for Bibidong to hunt soul beasts, just like in Douluo's original work? No mistake. Is it wrong for Tang San to seek revenge for his mother and protect his lover? No mistake. There is nothing right or wrong in this Douluo continent, there are no good or bad people. It's just a different stance. About 3 hours later, Chen Xian walked out of the room and nodded to Gu Rong. Gu Rong also took over Chen Xian's work and walked into the secret room. To break down the will of the fox, one can only torment it continuously through powerful spiritual power. And this high-intensity use of mental power made even the title Douluo like Qinxin show a hint of fatigue. He and Gu Rong still have a protective role in the Seven Treasures Glass sect, so they naturally won't put themselves in a state of losing combat power. They can only take turns to fight. Time passed by minute by second, and as the bright moon hung high, the eyes of the fox in the secret room were already empty. It couldn't understand why the two titled Douluo took turns torturing itself, as it was just a little soul beast that had just stepped into the world for thousands of years. Seeing Gu Rong leave, Meihu's eyes showed a hint of despair. Next, who is it? In its perception, a teenager walked in. Feeling the breath inside the boy's body, Meihu's eyes flashed with a hint of enlightenment. Soul sect. This is just a soul sect. Are you here to kill yourself? That's good, finally relieved. In fact, the spiritual intelligence of the 10,000-year soul beast is no weaker than that of humans. When she saw Jiang Feng, Meihu immediately understood many things. Originally, it was to make myself the soul ring of this guy. Even if my spiritual power completely disappears, can you digest the energy of my eternal soul beast? Jiang Feng didn't know what Mei Hu was thinking, but looking at its empty gaze, he adjusted his breathing and summoned Barrett, giving it a satisfying shot. When the bullet penetrated the head of the fox, a glimmer of relief flashed in its eyes. After a moment, a lacquered black soul ring slowly rose from its corpse. Jiang Feng came to Mei Hu's side and sat cross-legged. The I Ching tendons in his body began to move, slowly attracting his soul ring to approach him. At the moment when the energy of the eternal soul ring was absorbed into Jiang Feng's body, he couldn't help but frown. Although his body can withstand the impact of 12,000-year soul beast energy, this is after all the first time he has absorbed a 10,000-year soul ring, and it is still a cross-level absorption. The terrifying energy crazily washed through his meridians, causing pain that even Jiang Feng frowned. Jiang Feng dared not show any carelessness and cautiously guided the flow of energy in his body through the meridians. In just a moment, the meridians in the body seemed to be able to withstand the impact of the eternal soul ring and began to operate in a regular manner. Jiang Feng's furrowed brow also stretched out. Chen Xian and others had already arrived at Jiang Feng's side at this moment. Looking at Jiang Fengshu's eyebrows, their breath also relaxed. After all, the more nervous Jiang Feng appears, the more afraid they become. This is the hope for the future of the Seven Treasures Glass sect. However, as soon as they breathed a sigh of relief, they saw Jiang Feng's body trembling uncontrollably, his eyebrows furrowed again, and even his forehead began to sweat uncontrollably. Upon seeing this scene, Ning Fengji immediately summoned his Seven Treasures Glass Pagoda. 7 treasures say, 6 say, increase. A colorful light shone into Jiang Feng's body from the 7 treasures glass pagoda. Jiang Feng's trembling body calmed down for a moment, but only for a moment. Jiang Feng's body began to overflow uncontrollably with a spirit beast aura. Qinxin and Gurong exchanged a glance. The next second, Qinxin was about to take action to stop Jiang Feng from continuing to absorb soul rings when she saw a phantom behind Jiang Feng. At the same time, 3 soul rings appeared under his feet. Yellow-purple. The third deep purple soul ring flashed for a moment, and his martial soul, Barrett, suddenly appeared in Jiang Feng's hand, which was a phantom behind him. Bang! Gunshots rang out, and a mournful scream echoed through the secret room. At the same time, Jiang Feng's head also emitted a burst of black gas. Under the gaze of the 3, Jiang Feng's body no longer trembled, and the fluctuation of his soul power also stabilized. A hint of joy appeared in the eyes of Chen Xian and others. Success. After a moment, Jiang Feng added another soul ring to his feet. The soul ring was pitch black, as if it contained the power to devour the heart. End of this chapter. I don't know if I can withstand chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I don't know if I can withstand chapter 10. Jiang Feng, stop practicing and play with me, okay? Jiang Feng sat cross-legged on the top of the back mountain, looking at Ning Rongrong sitting on his shoulder, clutching his hair in a flurry, speechless. I don't know what the old man thought, but he actually told Ning Rongrong about his last piece of pure land. Now there's nowhere to hide from her. Don't be naughty, if you're naughty, I'll throw you down. Ning Rongrong looked at the cliff ahead with his head down, and there was no fear on his face. Instead, he smiled and said, I don't believe it. If you have the ability, you can throw it away. Are you sure? Jiang Feng looked serious, but Ning Rongrong was stunned when he saw it. But the next second, she still picked up her courage and straightened her chest. You throw it away. Jiang Feng no longer hesitated, grabbed Ning Rongrong's calf with his back hand, and threw her out. The sense of weightlessness emanating from his body instantly turned Ning Rongrong's face pale. And her own figure also quickly fell from the cliff. Ah 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 ah. The piercing scream instantly spread throughout the entire Seven Treasures Glass sect. Ning Fengji and Chen Xian, who were playing chess in the conference hall, also shook their hands. Feeling slightly, Ning Rongrong fell from the cliff. Chen Xian's face changed and he was ready to take action, but Ning Fengji shook his head. Forget it, Uncle Jian. Feng Er is here and nothing will happen. Rongrong has indeed become more and more mischievous in recent years. But what if? What else did Qinshin intend to say, but Ning Fengji just shook his head, and Qinshin had no choice but to give up. Just as Ning Rongrong felt like he was about to die, a strong pulling sensation came from his waist, and a shadow appeared on his side, directly blocking the cold mountain breeze. Looking back, I found that Jiang Feng had actually appeared by my side, hugging my slender waist. Jiang Feng's soul power trembled, and his figure suddenly froze in the air. The next second, Jiang Feng stepped on the nearby mountain wall, leaving a deep footprint. With the help of this shock-absorbing force, Jiang Feng's body quickly flew upwards, and during this time, he borrowed force twice again, directly holding Ning Rongrong back to the mountaintop. Until he stood on the ground with both feet, Ning Rongrong had not regained his senses and his face remained pale. Wow! Tears appeared in Ning Rongrong's eyes. Before she could fully cry, Jiang Feng flashed and disappeared in front of Ning Rongrong. Jiang Feng's figure disappeared, and Ning Rongrong's tears instantly stopped, with an ugly expression that wanted to cry but couldn't come out. Jiang Feng. At the foot of the mountain, when he heard the screams from Ning Rongrong on the mountain, Jiang Feng just calmly dug out his ear and pretended not to hear them. Returning to the room, Jiang Feng closed the door and sat cross-legged on the bed, looking at the system panel in front of him. Host. Jiang Feng, age. 12, martial soul. Barrett, soul power. Level 44 soul sect, soul ring. Yellow, 702 AD, purple, 2140 AD, purple, 6500 AD, black, 10582 AD, first soul skill. Armor piercing bullet. Second soul skill. Amplification. Third soul skill. Soul annihilation. Fourth soul skill. Magnetic bullet. Unlike Tang San in the original work, Jiang Feng did not use external forces to dilute the soul power contained in the 10,000-year soul ring. After absorbing the soul power for a month, Jiang Feng directly broke through to level 44. At this point, Jiang Feng's cultivation speed has actually started to slow down. According to Jiang Feng's estimation, it will take at least 5 months to break through level 1. After all, he only has 2 cheats so far. One is due to the innate soul power brought by the I Ching tendon, and the other is a perfect cultivation plan made by the system. In the early stages, he could still rely on these far superior peers, but in the later stages, his qualifications became the biggest factor restricting his development. Although continuing to cultivate like this can maintain a good speed, and even become a title Douluo around the age of 40 like Tang Hao, it is still too slow for Jiang Feng. So he turned his gaze to another important thing. Dugu Bo is a fairy grass with eyes on both ice and fire. You should know that this thing can not only greatly enhance soul power, but also improve physical fitness, making cultivation easier. And Jiang Feng has a systematic existence, even if you don't know him, it's okay. The system will provide the best choice. The current problem is how to indicate the location of these fairy grasses to Chen Xian and others. After all, in the original work, only 2 people from Douluo continent knew these immortal herbs. Tang San and Zhu Do Luo Yuguan. I rarely leave my sect, and I can't even find an excuse. On the other side, the conference hall. Uncle Jian, let's call it a day. I still have some sect affairs to handle. Qinshin nodded. Okay, Feng Ji, you should be busy first. I'll go find the old bone to play chess. After speaking, Qinshin left the conference hall. After Chen Xian left, Ning Fengji looked at a corner of the hall and a figure slowly appeared. Ning Fengji spoke up and said, "Does Rongrong know?" The figure bowed and bowed to Ning Fengji, saying, "I know the master." I have already told the young lady according to the master's instructions. Moreover, the young lady did not realize that the master deliberately let her know. Well, that's good. Ning Fengji nodded slightly. But there was a hint of doubt and uncertainty on his face. Master, the two elders may not be dissatisfied with your arrangement of the young lady, after all, the two elders dote on her so much. Ning Feng raised the corner of his mouth and said, "It's okay, go call Feng Er to meet me." Yes. After speaking, the figure disappeared into the room. Master, are you looking for me? Jiang Feng looked at the person in front of him with some confusion. He knew this person, who was Ning Fengji's messenger and held a high position in the entire sect. Please take a trip, young Master Feng. The person respectfully said to Jiang Feng. The core members of the Seven Treasures Glass sect all know Jiang Feng's status. Although he is only 12 years old, he is destined to be the future generation of Douluo, so he naturally dare not neglect it. Jiang Feng raised his head slightly. Okay, I'll go now. Upon arriving at the conference hall, Jiang Feng also saw Ning Fengji on the first seat. Ning Fengji waved at Jiang Feng. Come, Fenger, sit over here. Jiang Feng sat beside Ning Fengji and looked at her with some confusion. I don't know why the sect leader is looking for the boy this time. Ning Feng smiled silently and brewed a cup of tea for Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng didn't understand what Ning Fengji meant, but he still took a sip and then looked at him quietly. In the end, Ning Fengji still spoke up and asked, Fenger, how do you feel about Rongrong? Upon hearing these words, Jiang Feng's small hand trembled. Are you here? Are you coming? The fixed routine in legend is to use direct descendants to retain core combat power. Is it a beauty trick? I don't know if I can withstand it or not. No, I can do it. I will definitely do it. Thinking of this, Jiang Feng said solemnly, I think it's very suitable. End of this chapter.